business lines of credit up to $250,000 and above, as well as 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, up to $150,000 if not $250,000, without collateral, true no docs, startup and non-startup financing, and much more. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business funding expert, or otherwise business loan broker expert, who knows how to really handle documentation, look it over, evaluate, analyze it with my cerebral, introverted personality, go through it very well, and connect you with the best lender and lenders and underwriters by far. No further introduction. In this video, I want to get into what it takes to get a business line of credit in this market. It is April of 2023. A lot has changed. The past is not the present. The present is not the future. Otherwise, if the present stays the same and nothing else were to change. So, getting a true business line of credit, whether it's from the bank or it's a private lender, fintech companies, private investors, it can be very troublesome. Right now, the banks are trying to lower their debt capital. They're not trying to raise their debt ceiling, taking on more clients. So they're limiting and restricting it to certain clients. And you have to have stronger performance on your personal credit, not just age of history, but everything else, reporting accurately, on-time payments, no charge-offs, bankruptcies, foreclosures in the last 3 or so plus years. Even more than that, they don't want to see anything. They want to see a stronger aged credit profile with stronger aged trade lines. They're not accepting just something with a low 600 credit score. You really have to be performing, and that's raising the level. So in this market, whether it's a bank or it isn't, banks are going to be more restrictive. They're also going to look and cater to more of the business credit side. Even if they don't entirely, they're going to look at your personal credit performance and see if that far outweighs it, and if your business can stand alone if you just use your personal credit. But a lot of the times it results in a decline. So with private lenders in this space, if you're looking for a business line of credit, it's very difficult. You want to have stronger than just 600. You've probably heard, well, you can get in with $550, $10,000 a month, a year's time in business. Depends on the lender. But for the majority of them right now in this market, they want to see you doing somewhere around a 680 FICO Experian credit score. And they're going to look at more than just that. I know the banks are heavy on certain things, especially with credit cards, more of an Experian. Banks, a lot of the times you see Equifax and a few other business credit bureaus there. But what they're looking at is a higher personal credit profile. You don't want to just have the minimum, meet at 620, 625, 650. In this market, it's higher. It's not just 680. It's like 700, but more so 725. 750 is really it. 750 and above, 800 scores. That's what they want to target. And they also want to target that business who has over 40 to 50,000 in monthly revenue. It's doing somewhere around 400 to 500,000 and above, closer to 750,000. And it's also specific to the industry. Now, there are some that can get in with a lot less because they have performance in their business and they've been in it long enough. They just had a lower month or something happened recently, but progressively over the years, they've been in business, they have the annual gross revenue, they meet the requirements, but those are just two of the many. And the business credit isn't really something that they're going to look at and make that whole decision based off of that. If you don't have the FICO SPSS business liquid credit score of 145 or 150, the Intel score here on your Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, yeah, they can have some emphasis on that because it's become much harder to, but a lot of the times they're just looking at your personal credit. But again, like I said, that personal credit score weighs heavily. And it's also based on the revenue. It's based on the time in business. Even a year's time is not always enough. 2 years isn't even enough for most industries. You're seeing some around 3, but more realistically 5+ years time in business. And the strength of revenue, the strength of cash flow, all these little components have become more relevant now since everything's happened with the banks recently. And even before what happened with the collapse of certain banks and so forth. That's already happened before those incidents. So we're not relating it exactly to that, but it's become more restrictive and it's more of a signal and an alert that banks are on and how you can withdraw and liquidate the cash out of. And it's become more harder for businesses and business owners to take out money and do it quick enough. And I have a few scenarios I'll run through at the end, but now let's transition over into the 0%. But before I do that, it came to my mind, know that you can combine a lump sum, like if you get a term loan, if you get an advance, a bank loan in a second position, third position in most cases, a lien. What you can do then is combine that with the line of credit. So we can add the two products together depending on if you're getting a 4 to 24 month service. Maybe you're getting something between 2 years to 10 years. You have an SBA loan, you didn't get the cap line program, but you have a business line of credit with the bank. You're trying to consolidate, you're looking at refinancing your business debt. Maybe you're trying to put in everything underneath one loan. Can we look at doing that? Is it sufficient enough in cash flow? So you can have them separate, you can put some things together and mesh them to one another, but just know you can have the two separated. You can get a lump sum evaluated for, as well as the business line of credit. And there's more details to come to this with the lines of credit, guys. Usually they're weekly repayments in these markets. And so you're seeing that more because it's become harder for business owners to get approved and to retain their payment structure of their business and other debt obligations, even though a business line of credit does keep payments rather low as compared to a lump sum, even if it's lower interest in most cases. But it accumulates a lot over time and people over leverage in their finances. So be very careful of that. Yes, you can see monthly, but a lot of the times you see weekly. Maybe more so with banks, you see monthly more than you do see with fintech companies. So it could be monthly, weekly, and even I've seen daily. In some cases bi-weekly, but weekly, daily is a lot of the times what you see in this market. And a lot of the things with inflation, our economy, can it happen monthly? Perhaps. Can you move up to that in time? Perhaps, if you get your foot in the door. Some people start off monthly, but not everybody does. So keep that in mind. Now, the 0% interest, that's what I'm sure you are curious about. You've heard of, maybe you've heard it from me, but I just want to reemphasize this. This is a revolving credit line through business credit cards at 0% interest for 6 to 18 months that you can liquidate the cash out of these. You could put them on a balance transfer check, deposit it, or you could do it in another way where you're transferring it to another account directly. And there's multiple ways you can use software to help you with this, and I'm associated with all of this. I have a lot of people right now going through these 0% interest business credit cards, and it's a credit card stacking program. This is pretty much where you're looking at adding multiple accounts, or I should say multiple cards. Yeah, you can build multiple accounts, trade lines, and all that. Helps your business credit. And so what you're doing, for example, and I have my own document where I've helped out people and some examples, some of it confidential more than others. But let's say we were able to add a Chase business credit card, an Ink card, one of them. And we looked at getting you between 10 to 20,000. Now, is that all you are going to get? We're going to look at another bank. We usually go to the higher limit banks and the higher reputation banks, like the Bank of America, the Chase, the US banks, the Wells Fargos of the world, and many more. But let's say we did a strategy where we did 10 to 20,000 with the Chase to begin with. And then secondly, we would work in getting you like a Bank of America card between 20 to 30,000 or 10 to 20,000 more or less. And then after that, we could do a US bank. So we do all those three, and they are hard pulls, just know that. But since they're not attached to any open accounts, we can remove them and repeat the process. So that's the huge advantage of this. And then underneath those 2 to 3 bigger banks, then we can look at a PNC Bank, a Truist Bank. We could look at another one. Maybe we can go to a Key Bank. There's so many other options available. There are credit unions, but a lot of people are too quick to turn to credit unions. I had a person the other day who said, well, they weren't getting approved for a lump sum, but they got approved through a credit union for something personal related. And I said, well, that's a credit union. Their guidelines are different, and they're more open and catering to people who are struggling with their credit and other financial obligations. So they're more reasonable. But when you're going to a bigger bank, you want to make sure you have the right details. And I won't go into it all specifically into my document that I have as an example, but just know that it weighs heavier if you have 2 years plus time in business, you've been a homeowner for a certain amount of time, you have your LLC, or EIN that's been established for 2+ years. So it just depends on how much time in business, your strength of your business is in terms in the foundation, the EIN, the LLC, or the incorporation you have. So it just depends on a few of those things, and then we can move up the ladder from there. And you have to start somewhere. So let's say if you didn't have the 2+ years with a few of these other things that you needed, perhaps we do a round of 20 to 30,000 or 20 to 50,000. 30 to 50,000 in some cases. But with everything else aligning and it's more seasoned, then we can get more closer to like the 50 to 100,000 and above. So it just depends on the situation at hand, and we have to look at those. Now let me go to the comments. I will not pay this person any mind. This person's been in here before. If you guys are seeing that in the comments, this person is a troll. This is the same person that was here like maybe 2 months ago. I don't know where they went. I don't know why they haven't been here. I embrace people like that. I have compassion for people like that. I never have any kind of anger towards. I actually find it kind of funny, although it isn't. But this person is eating up the comment section saying that I'm a scammer, which I'm not, by the way. If you've been following me for some time and I've actually helped you as well, whether you've gotten approved or not, I've helped you in one way or another. And I know this stuff works very well. And again, I've helped out all types of industries. That person can say what they want. I won't pay any more mind to them. I'll go to the comments here actually in a little bit. I'll go into all of them. I do want to cover like something for the last 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll open it up for comments and I'll go to it. So this is a 0% interest business credit card stacking program. You do need to have stronger credit though. Normally a 700 and above on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. There used to be a time at around a 680 on all 3, but things change in the market. So that's where I would focus if I were you right now. Appreciate you. Thank you for stating that. I didn't think anybody had to. I guess it just shows, but I'm not that at all. I hate using that word. Some people have a wrong mindset, and some people just think about things differently, and it's kind of sad, but that's what the world has come to with certain people. And so this is requiring you to have stronger credit, have certain limits on your personal side, have certain accounts. Trade lines help. The stronger trade lines do. I won't get into all the qualifications on it, but just know that's available, and I'll leave that option down below in the description or in the bio. You guys can view more about it. I've been, again, helping out a lot of people. If I go through my CRM and what I've been able to do and communicate with people on this, which I'll actually bring up here, I can get a list of all of the people that I've been helping out. And one thing you guys need to know is, besides the qualifications and the requirements, this is one of the best programs in the country. And this by far outweighs everything else. If you can rely on your business credit and your trade credit through installments and through revolving, you'll be pretty well taken care of. So I'm just looking at a few examples. Of course, I can't mention some of this, but I'm seeing the progress that we've been making on certain people for their files and those that have already been getting funding. And I have the best resources on this. Not everybody is created equally. But yeah, just a 700 plus credit score is something you need to know about. Something else, if I switched over here to my document, because these things change from time to time, but it is most accurate. Somewhere around a credit card with 3 years old with a 5,000 plus limit, and it must be a primary card. No more than 4 to 6 inquiries per bureau in the last six months, preferably less. For the unsecured business financing, no late payments in the last like 2 years for a lot of these. Last year is one thing. Last 2 years, it depends also if you're doing credit repair, like how long, and those payments going away. So there's a few things there, no charge-off accounts, and there's quite a bit. I can cover all of it, but I'm not going to do it all right now. One other one, no bankruptcies within the past 7 years that I have here put on my doc. That's most recently. And this is stuff, guys, that I have that I'm looking at on my doc, and I'll actually go into another one that you guys don't have to see online. Like, you guys cannot see this stuff. So let me go ahead and go through some of this quickly, and I'll go into the comments section. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up my other document. I'll try to get a little bit more precise. I said I wasn't going to get into all the qualifications. You guys can view more of it. But by filling out the questionnaire, and I might leave a free document for you guys to check out. But let me see right here. Give me 1 second. Okay. This is a file you guys can't see because it's confidential. But this one was for a revenue-based client that I was helping out just earlier today. They were texting me. I think I got to text them back here in a second, though. So let me scroll up here to the part where I want to go into. Just got my client there who's opening up an email of mine. Great relationship I have with him. I'm trying to help him get AR financing, but it's like he's doing progress billing, and progress billing for a construction company. It's volatile. It really doesn't work. And so here I just detailed the information to the unsecured business financing, and this is again something you guys can't see. And I'm in connection with the best lenders and underwriters and all this in organization. So things do change in this market, I think, more than any of the other ones with the business credit side of the equation, as well as personal funding. But something like I see here, and I have this stuff already in memory, to be honest with you, but I wanted to go through it. So like I said earlier, and it kind of applies the same, no more than 4 bank inquiries per bureau in the last 12 months. It does not include secured inquiries like auto loans and mortgages. There's another one here, like no bankruptcies at all showing, and I kind of gave you guys a number on that. No open unpaid collections or judgments. I said the no late payments in the last 2 years, no charge-off accounts. Seasoned major bank card trade lines, 5,000 plus limit, must have a minimum of 2 open revolving accounts within the last 2 years of history or more. Can have 1 open revolving account if there's an aged mortgage with at least 2 years of history, or 1 open revolving account and aged entity over 2 years. And it's per case basis too, so this on top of more. Under 40% utilization on each revolving accounts, that's something recommended. We can pay that down if we need to with a payday loan or do something else. Over here, I go into detailing the personal funding. That's somewhat similar. Late payments is a bit different. So I won't spend too much time on that, but just know we can do this as an option, and we can do creative credit-based financing where we're adding unsecured business credit cards without collateral, that means, and then adding a round or two of personal funding with a term/installment loan, personal lines of credit, and those have different requirements and qualifications for. But I'm doing a lot of this for those of you who have the revenue in your business, and I'll go to the comments here in a second, that are struggling because you're getting medium to high rates. That's not the primary focus. It should be your benefit exceeding your repayment. That's what it needs to be at the end of the day, not the rate is too high. Well, you're a high risk, and the lender's assuming 100% of the risk. It's already uncollateralized PG funding usually. To get a no PG business line of credit, it just really doesn't exist unless you're working with revolving cards and you're doing those corporate cards, EIN only, no PG. And there's another few no PG cards, of course, when we're working with business credit cards. I won't get into too much on those. I already made content on it. I was going to start releasing them now, I have them in my head. But I released a video the other day on the fair to good to great to excellent credit cards that you guys can check out. I actually made other content on no PG cards, but those are hard to get if you don't have enough of the meat and the potatoes of your personal profile and a few things on your business. So that's on that part. But let me go to the comments here. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. All information will be in the bio description for you guys. Fill out the questionnaire where I can get you guys a very personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options, thoroughly broken down. And again, this is coming from yours truly. I'm an actual expert in the space who actually takes the time to review things on our back end, review documentation, collect documentation, do things correctly, and then be able to see who's the best lender for you, whether we're doing it directly or indirectly. A lot of the times in this market, indirectly is the best way to go. Can we add a business line of credit? There are more things. I can drop down some numbers and do things for you and show you based on your file, or a more of a general example. Would that be with a lump sum? Would a lump sum work better than this? And people who always ask me, can I collateralize equipment? How much equipment do you have, and how much is it worth? Appreciation, depreciation. A lot of the times when those in the transportation / trucking industry or others similar want to collateralize a truck, I tend to ask a few questions. And how much do they need? What would it be worth? Because those types of lenders, they want it to be big capital. They don't want it to be anything underneath 100,000 in most cases. 250, 500,000. It's just depending on that lender and that piece of equipment, but it's still hard to do, especially if you're over leveraged, you have a fairly new business, and there are a few things that arise. Now we're getting into a whole different topic, but again, all this information for the lines of credit, but the questionnaire, that's where I would begin. I might leave a free document for you guys to check out and run through that. How can your corporation get $6 million in a business loan to acquire an existing gas station? I want to make this very clear for you and everybody else in here watching. I know a lot of you are just seeking information, and I'm not tying myself to the outcome. I'm here to provide you guys value as much as I can. And if I didn't say this, I run multiple businesses. So for me to align with somebody on a personal and business level is very important. Now, they don't have to open up too much personally because I'm an introvert too. I read past people very easily, and I can read between the lines. I don't have to hear something being said. Usually I don't, to pick up on things. That's my gift. And the thing is, I've worked with a lot of people in the gas station business, and a lot of them just come and they go. I don't know if you'll be the same person, I'm trying to get a hold of a few people. Somebody went away for 4 months. They responded back. I responded back again, and they just went ghost again. It's like you guys are just picking up information, which I understand, but to a point, I cannot just continue to be the information guy. And if that does persist, people want phone calls. No, we're not doing all of that. And the reason why I don't do it in the beginning of it is because of these reasons. And I know the psychology of how you guys think about connecting, about looking for financing, because I've been there. I financed my companies too. And so getting the structure of it all built, and why I'm saying this is I can help you out, but what is the severity or the seriousness that you have? I don't want you saying, well, I didn't expect that answer. I didn't want that answer. I'm giving you the truth. That's what you need to know. Not what you want to know. It's what you need to know. And you'll appreciate that even better. I don't pressure anybody ever. And I've done a lot of these acquisitions, starting a new business. I'm working with somebody right now who's trying to do a startup. They have the land, they have the commercial property. They just need to have everything else built. They've ran through some numbers. They're getting some estimates with the contractors. I get all that. They had about like 20 questions that I had to answer the other day. And now I haven't heard back from them. They're probably busy. I'm not jumping to conclusions. It's okay. But if you just disappear and I did all that work, it's just something that I don't want to be a part of anymore. Because I know more or less that those of you in the gas station industry, I know how it goes. I know how you guys behave. I know the nature of it. And I'm very respectful, energy and time preservative. So if that's something you are interested in, and I'll read the next part here on how to get a $6 million, and I'll address that in a second. But just know I've been through all of this stuff myself, helping people and friends and family. And I come from a position where I was a 9-to-5 employee, like many of you are now or were. And I worked in different industries, construction, manufacturing. I did all that. I went to school academically. I educated myself. A Division I soccer player, went to sociology. Then I went into chemical engineering as I found more of a love and a passion for chemistry, my math side of my brain, my systems. And then I saw the market and I wanted to get into business administration. Not saying that math was difficult or none of that. I wanted to see the market and what I wanted to get into, eventually business. Now, how to get a $6 million business loan to acquire a gas station. If you're looking at getting something above $1 million in a gas station business, that is somewhat harder to do. It's not saying that it's impossible and improbable. It's just gas station type of acquisitions are much harder to. $6 million, you're already getting past $5 million in an SBA 7A loan. What's the actual total amount they're looking for to acquire this business? What's the cash flow of the business? $6 million, that gives us somewhat of a red flag in a sense that getting you the financing that's going to be beyond $5 million, because this is normally an SBA acquisition loan, and I do plenty of those, that getting past that amount for a gas station to acquire a gas station. So there's likely going to have to be some seller financing of 10 to 15%, if not more or less, and bringing that evaluation down on how much you can actually have the purchase price. Do you have the letter of intent? See, all these things I know because I do them. I don't just know them because I read something, and not all of this can be discovered online. It's through experiences. And so to get $6 million, we'll have to get creative with credit-based financing. So we can add an SBA acquisition, and then in the meantime, we can try looking at, or after, so we can get post-closing liquidity if that's the issue, if there's a down payment issue, or we needed to have extra funds on hand for working capital. You can prove that. There's different things. Getting loaned that amount to have a down payment as a gift, not just from a family member, but an actual gift. And there's a few things that are added to that. Maybe there's a letter that's issued because of that. So it's going to be a lot harder to do $6 million. I need to look at the full details. Did you look at this from a certain site? Do you have a friend or a family member? Again, I do these all the time. And so I know whether it's a gas station or not. I have somebody right now who can't get it through the SBA. We tried looking for one business. It wasn't profitable enough. And then another one, we couldn't do it because of the tax return. So I have them right now doing creative credit-based financing with what I said earlier, with 0% interest unsecured business credit cards on top of personal term loan funding and more if necessary for what they need. And that may still not even be enough. So what do we have to then do? Do we have to do a home equity line of credit? Do we need to do something similar to get a down payment? What do we need to do? These are the cases. Okay. So the acquisition of this existing, see, my problem would then be the tax returns. that would cause a red flag, and it is likely not going to subside. This is something that we may have to get in. Like $6 million you're asking for, when creative credit-based financing, normally you can see up to $350,000 on a first round, depending on what we're doing with personal term loans, or up to $250,000 with those, just a loan, and then a few other things on the business credit side. So where is the rest of that 5.5 or so million going to come from? And so when I'm doing all of this stuff, it has to sound realistic enough, and that evaluation for the seller price does have to come down, because when we're looking at financing this in 2020 but no revenue, like, I get it, it's an H Corp, right? And so if that's the case, no returns, nothing can be provided by the seller, the buyer yourself, limited information, maybe credit is an issue already. See, we're dealing with all of these problems already. We haven't even gone started submitting a personal financial statement to see your assets and liabilities. And so again, this is stuff I do every reoccurring day. Ask somebody else if they do that every day as a broker. No, I do it consistently, and I'm sure others do too. I'm not discounting that, but I know my stuff. And I've worked with every industry, and there's a recurring pattern and theme of this. It's just saying, well, do we have the documents? It doesn't, maybe they look like it might not look like it in this situation. Well, we need 3 years of personal and business tax returns. We need 3 years to close. 2 years we can accept, especially if your business is just 2 years. Yeah, we can look at that, but we're going to have to see those tax returns, those personal and business. And so with that said, and not having, it's technically a startup, it's an H Corp if that is, the down payment is going to go higher. So 10% is normally not the case. You're going to see somewhere around like 25 to 30% equity injection. Do you have that? And you can't just say I just got it from a friend. There's got to be a gift. There's got to be something that assures us that this is a gift being given to you, and it's something sometimes that we have to write down or has to be signed and dated on something. And so these are just a few of the scenarios. But we could do creative credit-based financing. It's just going to determine on your credit and a few other things. Does that make sense? I apologize, guys, if it's getting dark. The weather here in Washington, it's weird. It was light a little bit earlier, and now this is what it is. I have to turn on the lights for it to be... Let me do that. And yes, I'm wearing shorts, if you guys saw that, because I get to work from home. I'm an independent business loan broker, and I get it done. People turn to me because of my story, because of who I am, my why, more than what and the how. That's what you guys also need to establish in your own business, is when I come do business with you, why you? Not why your business, but why you? That's what I want to know. You don't have to give me the what. You don't have to share with me the how. Great. Systems, processes, automation, the what you do. Okay, great. How do you do it? All right. Well done. The outcome. Great. But why you? That's what I'm ultimately wanting to be invested in, is the person that I'm working with. Got it. How are you doing, David? I'll go up to the comments too. I know I saw some recently. I didn't miss you guys. I'll get to you guys in just a second. Is it hard to get funding for a restaurant around $1 million to purchase a building, a commercial real estate building? Commercial property mortgage type of situation? If it's a real estate related reason, like it is, then yeah, that won't be as difficult. Now, if it were $1 million for like working capital, and you didn't have somewhere around $1 million a month generating, you're doing around $28 to $30 million a year, and you're not over leveraged, yeah, and then we can factor that into the building purchase price, of course. But I just have to see the rough estimates or the rough numbers or the concrete numbers to better assess on that building, as well as the location, as well as your business currently. We have to know your restaurants, how it's producing, what it's producing in terms of revenue, operating, net operating income, if we need to go that deep into the situation. I won't get too much into the actual application process or the documents that would be required. With agreements and stuff like that, property purchase agreement. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but if you're willing to go over that with me, I will be more than open to helping you out. Full transparency with me. You don't have to worry about talking your ears off. I'll send you an email. We can, in fact, do it all via email. I'm doing a lot of $1 million deals right now, real estate related. I kid you guys not when I say this. A lot of you, I had a lady on the call yesterday who I'm helping her become a broker herself. And I told her she's meeting her people in person, where I go, I could do that. But I also do a lot of this digitally, and I've helped out clients in the most humble, respectful way with my attitude. And I can say that I've been able to help clients without even getting on a call with them. And I'm doing a lot of that right now. You wouldn't think that would be the way to do it, but when you see this, you're seeing this here, you're seeing other pieces of my content, you know that I am very truthful at heart. That's who I was brought up to be, somebody who is very loyal. I'm a Libra, if that says anything. I'm more quiet than anything. You guys see me on video because I think this helps you guys the most. And so when I'm not on a camera and I don't like being on video, I prefer blogging. I prefer being more private. Then that's where I get a lot of my work done. What I did before 120 right now, you guys wouldn't even have been able to have done what I've been doing and what I did. And so there's quite a bit of stuff that I have to go through in the beginning of my day, and spiritually, and a lot of the stuff that gets my habits and my routines in the right place. But yes, that is something, again, like I said, it can be done. I've seen it get done. I've helped out people get that amount, but it just has to make sense. Like, is there going to be extra working capital? Like, what are you doing with this building exactly? Are you going to be renovating at any time? There's just so many tangibles and so many little parts of that chemistry equation, I like to call the stoichiometry, that I need to know more about. Got it. Yeah, and I appreciate you for bringing that up to me. Like I said, I'm more of an observer. Like right now, how I see you putting your sentences together, I see how you do that. That's how punctual and how not critiquing, but cerebral I am about things, and meticulous. I like to break things down on a very foundation level. So as an entrepreneur, business owner, my job is always to ask you the tougher questions. What's the major problem you are facing right now that you are seeking funding for, that's causing you to find funding? And if I find out there's a deeper issue, I can ask more questions. Is that really the problem? Do you think there's a deeper problem that goes maybe to your finances, that's where it's leaking from? Maybe you didn't know the answer to that, but we have to review that. And I go, okay, the deeper problem is your finances, but your finance, that part, do you think that's stemming from something more? Yes, it's stemming from character. So character is the foundational root of everything. Like you're building a house, a tree's being put together. A tree is sprouting. Yeah, we're putting the tree together. And we can, but you don't just sprout a big, tough tree without strong roots. So at the root of the cause, the diagnosis, not the symptoms, it's the root, it's the soil, it's the seed, it's how nurtured it is, it's how it's been, I don't want to use that word, but it's how well it's been developed in a season, in a time to be taken care of. So what I always tell people, it's the character of the person that matters tremendously. And if that's not together, it makes every other part of the process that much more difficult. It makes it harder for you to be responsive. It makes it harder for you to be open-minded. I see a lot of hard-headed people. I see a lot of cocky, arrogant, stubborn characters. And I'm not bashing anybody, but it's best to you work on yourself, because you're going to see these things affecting you if they haven't already. And I don't deal with people like that unless we leave that out the door. I go, don't bring that. Don't bring that smoke down my way. You leave that out the door. Yeah, you have problems that I'm going to work through, but the problems you're bringing to me are your attitude, your effort, your stubbornness, things that we didn't need that. We leave that out the door and we come in. But that's what I want to say to that. I'll go back to the comments. And I didn't say this earlier, but in my time when I was post-academics going into the work field, I worked construction, manufacturing, and in the field, in the machines. I didn't get that cubicle space right away. Could I have? Yeah. But I learned through a wealth of experience doing these things, and then eventually getting into a financial logistics role where I couldn't move up. Eventually the company got bought over. I had to make a transition. Do I go back and earn another semester's worth and get another degree? Do I continue to further my education, and or do I get more certification? So then that's when I ventured out with a friend of mine who talked to me about passive income, and I got into digital marketing, a digital marketing lead, digital marketing agency, which I still run. The lead generation business I still do. I'll also do the affiliate marketing with the health related space. I have had that one for a long time. I have a few other verticals in that and a few other ventures, but this is my primary focus. So I'll come back up here and we're going to close up here soon. I may have the replay on YouTube later on so you guys can check it out. How do you get past late payments to move forward with loans? I'm not sure if you're still in here, Liz, but that's a great question. See, this brings up questions for me to ask you. And I go, first, you want to go through. You never want to go around something, and I'm sure you know that. You want to get through something. Don't try to go around the problem. Go through the problem. Penetrate the problem on the surface level, and there's probably more underneath that. But my question to you would then be, I don't need you to, you don't have to say that because that can be a personal matter, but how many late payments do you have? How recently? How long ago? Have you done anything to try to remove them? Can you remove? Can you dispute? Have you tried that? But moving past late payments is a tough one, just depending on the service, especially if it's a lot more credit based. There are some with revenue where if you miss one payment in here and there, it's okay, but you start missing a few, it makes it more troubling to get approved for. But this is something you may want to dispute. You want to work with a credit repair company. It's not as easy as just letting them sit there. I wouldn't let that happen. And it depends on the type of service. Once they do get removed and disputed, then there's a different process after that if you can get approved or not. And for those of you in here who are needing to get their personal credit repaired, I'll leave more information for you on my recommendation in the bio as well as in the description. And you guys can work in tandem with personal credit and business credit and building your trade credit, applying to the right tier vendors first to get to tier 1 first, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. A lot of people always ask me too, well, how can I buy a vehicle under my name? You can buy a vehicle. It's not difficult to do and put it underneath your name. But the difficult thing is getting it without a personal guarantee and no personal credit check. People ask me that all the time. I'm not going to get into the home LLC part. That's a whole different matter. But that right there is the case. And why you're not getting underneath without a PG, without a personal credit check, just your EIN, is because you don't have enough accounts built in your trade credit. You don't have enough vendor credit, store credit. You're not moving up the tiers of financing in that until you start building your credit limits, your risk association. And so once you have higher credit limits, then we can tell. We can see, okay, how many accounts, how many trade lines have you been reporting? How many of them have you been using and paying? What are the payment history like? And all this stuff. It's more beneficial. But that's another topic for another time. You want to get a credit line to get expansion for your business? Yes, I do help with that. And that was the topic, of this video, as you guys already know. And if you're just joining me, I spoke about business lines of credit and the alternative to a true business line of credit, getting a revolving credit line through business credit cards at 0% interest. There's fair credit cards, but you're not going to maximize. And that's the problem that a lot of business owners have, is maximizing their personal and business credit. You're already over leveraged with your personal credit, applying with subprime credit. That's why you're getting those Capital One cards with low limits, $500 to $2,500 or so dollars, that you're repetitively using, and you're not building enough of a strong credit profile and things that are reporting strong or accurate enough on your business credit profile. And so once you start getting higher credit limit cards, that's where then you start turning the corner and you say, hey, this is probably primary using of funding, or this is secondary or third, or wherever you are. So I'm going to just read a few more things. If anybody has any questions, please feel free. I'm doing good. How are you doing? See, a lot of you guys don't want the reality. A lot of you guys want the fluff. A lot of you guys want the video on YouTube that goes, here's how you get a business loan. For $500,000, you can have $20,000. Come on, get out of there with that. And I've seen a lot of content on this stuff, and some of it is accurate. I would say a lot of it is questionable. You guys can do your homework on me as much as you guys want. A lot of people go, he's a scammer. I'm not a scammer. I never even had that thought come into my mind when I came into this industry. See, I don't have to think about those things. The scam thinks about me. I don't think about the scam. Does that make sense? See, the outside world is thinking about that. I know who I am, true at heart. Why would I do that to anybody? See, a lot of people got to get real. A lot of people got to get their resources together first before they make a conclusion. So I'll go on for a couple more minutes. I don't want to leave it too long because this will be uploaded and people go, I don't want to watch 20 to 30 minutes of a video. Watch the video. If what you're hearing now is just a snippet of what you can get in the future, just imagine all the content you guys can get your hands on and go, that's why I was getting disapproved. That's what resulted in a decline. Like, you guys don't always know that, but I have those personal business relationships with those underwriters and lenders. They can't always give people that information, or others, brokers, they can't. But with me, they have that trust in what I can and can't say. And so I know what I'm doing well, but I'll go back into the comments here. And so it's a very elated feeling of protection, of feeling more safe and secure and more comfortable, and the convenience of having somebody who can consult with you, who can help you understand those things. You guys do really, really need that. Good question, Facts. Let me read this. How do you get that loan and what is the requirements? Which specific one? Business lines of credit, the ERC. I know the title, I didn't change that. I apologize, guys, I didn't change the title. Sometimes I miss that here. But it just depends on the type of service. So that's where I want to align with you first so that I can better understand your needs. There is a message that I was expecting. Okay, I'll look at that later. But yeah, it just depends on the service. The employee retention credit, guys, a lot of people need my help with that, and I've been helping them with it. And I connect them with my team of payroll management experts, the best that are in this space, that handle the majority of that, the tax codes, the PDF documents, the stuff that just your CPA alone wouldn't be able to handle on. So if you guys have W-2 employees, you're paying qualified W-2 wages on, then that's something that you could get into. It's a free application, no cost, but it is expiring. It's a refundable payroll tax credit expiring in April of 2024, around April 15th, and then April 15th of 2025. Yes, that should be it. None of the changes in dates have happened. Maybe something does change down the road and it opens up again, but this could shut out just like the EIDL has recently. And you miss out on your opportunity to get a refundable payroll tax credit to put it back into your business, and you choose how you decide to use it. So here's a message I'm reading from a client. One second. Oh, that makes sense. So here's a quick scenario. I didn't even have to read the last part of what he said, but he's just telling me how his credit is good. He's explaining things on his business, how it's new. And then the issue I have is they had to file bankruptcy years ago, 3 years ago. And I'm not saying the person's name here, just speaking to what could be the behavior. And they're waiting currently for a discharge. Common approach. I know how all this happens. I see it all the time. I go through people with this, repair and all this stuff. And here's the next part that's not surprising to me, but they've been denied for credit cards for personal and business. They've tried both. And they're asking what are their options. And he's going, what is his options? He kind of put this together. And he's asking pretty much, should he wait after 6 months? Like, he has that understanding that you can reapply in 6 months, but it's not just waiting 6 months when you have that bankruptcy. And there are probably other underlying issues. Maybe there's late payments and a few other things that are the problem. So waiting 6 months won't be the answer. So that's something where I have to consult with him. I may ask to look for his credit reports just so I can look at them with a soft pull, or we look at them in a specific program and we look at them in the back end. But his chances right now, depending on how long ago he applied for those cards, which shows me when he's saying 6 months, it probably means he just recently, like this month or last month, applied or so. So that's a situation where it's going to be difficult. We want to see his credit come up. I'm going to have to know where his credit level's at. I'm going to have to know a little bit of that, his high limit cards on a few things if he has any. And then we're going to have to do some other creative type of financing with that scenario. Maybe it takes 401k IRA, especially if it's a new business. We may have to venture down that route. And how difficult with this credit is, that's something else I have to spot to really understand. And that's something that I'll discover in a little bit, or at least a little bit later. Does anybody have any questions? I'll get going in a second if nobody has anything. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the likes. And if you guys shared the room, appreciate it. I don't always ask for it. I'm as real, guys, as it's going to get when it comes to getting financing in this. I have the best support of my team, the lenders. And if there's anything I ever have to ask them, like I did a few today, just to make sure that the market hasn't changed. And we're working on account receivable financing for a specific client. Nothing had changed there, but they told me, okay, this wouldn't work. They wanted to see their payroll summary report. I knew what was going to happen, or their aging AR report, summary report, but they wanted to see it firsthand first before anything gets submitted. And so they verified exactly what my thoughts were. But yeah, it's always good to get a second opinion from the lender. And if I have that connection with them personally and in business, it's best that I go through them instead of you just trying to call anybody and everybody. It doesn't normally work in your best interest. And they tell you a lot of the surface level information. Unless I have that, do I go to the lender? I don't always have to go to them right away and ask a question. I normally don't. We can just get started in the process because I know my stuff already and each of these types of services and products and what we can and can't do. How about we do 30 more seconds? And again, if I missed anybody, I do apologize. The comments are moving quick, or not the comments, I should say, the people who are joining. I don't know, I keep saying that people are joining, yet I don't see that reflecting on the viewer count. But again, this will be on the replay later on, so in case you guys want to watch it. So if you guys do want somebody who's a professional, an expert, somebody who does talk less, somebody who will really get it done for you, somebody who really understands their work, and I'm a business owner like you guys are. Again, I have multiple businesses that I'm running. And in fact, later on today, I got to do something for my digital marketing agency. I'm going to do a quick health checkup on my affiliate marketing websites and certain products. But that's all that I'll do for today on that. Now here I have a few emails I need to look at. Okay. Yeah, I'll send her the link again. So while that is happening, I'll actually come back here and I'm going to end this here in a second. If nobody has anything, and I'll get back to a certain client that I have. She needs me to send her the information to get started with her application again. So I'm going to look for this. Thought I saw a comment. So I'm just verifying this from a lender. 1 second. Okay, done there. Nobody has any questions, no comments, no concerns. Now's your guys' opportunity to let me know what major problems are you dealing with right now in starting a business, currently in one. Maybe it isn't pertaining to getting funding. It has something to do with readjusting the structuring of your business, how you allocate your funds in your business. It can be the marketing and the advertising of your business, because I've done that for myself. I don't have to outsource that, guys, because I know how to do all that myself. I have those skill sets, and those were fine-tuned over not just 4 years, 5 years, but many more than that. And I've done it by getting people products from other types, not just financial products, but I've done things with supplements, vitamins and supplements, seat cushions, ergonomic chairs, all of these things I've done. Software related products, you have digital information, the list goes on and on. So I'm very well versed in what I do, and why I got into this field is because I really wanted to make an impact in helping people just where I was, and I wanted to do this to help you also stimulate your economy. There's no better feeling than seeing a business owner succeeding in their business, not always because of the money that they get, but because of many more reasons. And what that money allows them to do, free up more time, have more energy, have better health and relationships. Those are the overall global impact that I see in the aspirations and the values that start to shift and realign or become even more concrete and solidified. So those are different things. Okay, we'll do 10 more seconds. I'll give you guys that. The 30 seconds did expire, but let's do 10 more seconds. See, now the sun is popping up. It was, I wouldn't say it was cloudy, but it got darker. Raining, and then the sun, and then it got dark again, and then the sun comes out a little bit. Man, the most bipolar weather here in Washington. And we're already in April. It's like, come on. So that's where I will leave it then. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. All information in the bio, description down below to get started. Questionnaire. There might be a free document to check out. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Like always, very grateful and thankful for you guys. I am. And I help out people in many ways. It doesn't have to be primarily the funding. Like, you didn't get funding, so I didn't help you. Not necessarily the truth. So what has to align? Character. Character is huge for me. Reputation comes second. Character is the foundation to anything and everything. It's the root of a tree being built on, the roots of a house being built on, the soil, the planting of below the soil, below the surface level. That's what we're looking at. In all of this, when people don't move, they have a feeling of, well, this won't work, and that. It can be a lot of things. It can be rooted in fear, misbelief, misguidance. Financially, you're not set. Financially, you are unaware of your own finances. It can be other external reasons, but a lot of it can come from internal reasons of ourselves. And shaping those beliefs are very important, and that is the fundamental, okay? So thank you all for joining. Have a great rest of your day as well as the rest of the week, and I will talk to you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.